We have reached our final timeline, the Blumhouse trilogy quadrilogy. Well, we'll get into it just a bit more because there's a lot to talk about. If you thought last day's video was combustible, you ain't seen nothing yet. All right. We are going to be talking about the Blumhouse trilogy, or in a way, the quadrilogy, because this is a continuation of part one, the 78 one. So the 78 one does kind of count here. It is a continuation right from the original 78 film. Nothing after 78 counts. The hospital thing didn't happen. She's not his sister. There is no familial connection.
Yeah, they talk about that in the film, don't they? They go, "Oh, some made a sick rumor."
Yeah, so it's a whole joke made out of that. This was Jamie Lee Curtis actually coming back along with John Carpenter, who wasn't there to direct, he was there to do the score. And man, what a score. We'll get into that actually, because holy crap, I want those records. This is probably the best score we've gotten, and we will get through the three of these films since part two. Like Alan Howarth did a good job in part four, but John Carpenter on another level with this stuff. Like the music is fantastic in these films. But we're starting with the first one. And Blumhouse gained the rights to do Halloween. Initially, that was going to be just one movie. It was greenlit for one film, Halloween 2018. It was being done by the odd combination of David Gordon Green and
Danny McBride.
yeah. So not the guys that you think about when you think about doing horror. Like here's the guys that had got come together and did things like like Your Highness, the stoner comedy, and of course Danny McBride had just gotten off of Eastbound and Down, which was a very popular comedic show.
Brilliant show.
Um, so thinking Danny McBride writing horror at first doesn't make sense until you realize almost every freaking comedian you can think about has such a darkness to them.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is a perfect example of that. This one here has a lot that I do like about it, and a little bit that I don't like about it. Uh, I thought this was a strong comeback. Now, for some people, this was not like what they wanted. This was a divisive film. For a lot of people, this was like, yay, this is going back to doing what they wanted to do. However, if you had been a fan of the Rob Zombie films previously to this, then the Rob Zombie fans thought of Halloween 2018 as a step back because it wasn't in the style of a Rob Zombie film. So that's what we got to talk about right now. Did you want a movie in style of Rob Zombie, or were you glad with what it did, or maybe you're on the fence of like not liking it either way? As always, I go last, so I don't get attacked too much. And I'll let Dad go first this time. What's your thoughts on Halloween 2018?
Well, compared to next two we're going to watch, it's pretty good. I found that if you watch this movie, you're going to old pile of references from other movies. You're going to see parts in the first movie, you're going to see parts of the second movie, parts of the fourth movie, even the third, when you see the kids with the Halloween masks that were used in the Season of the Witch. So there's a lot of references to the other. No, forget the.
They were different fans. Was there freezing? Or did I freeze?
Fine five.
All right. So we lost
both
Dad there
did.
for a second. Did I freeze?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so you could hear
You
Dad
froze
though, right?
no. First of all, your dad froze after some robotic noises. And then you said, have I frozen? And then you started looking like you were trying to contact him, to let him know. And then you froze for like a minute. And then you were both
Oh,
frozen. Then Glenn returned with the robotic sounds. And then you returned, and then he was gone.
huh. Okay. Let's get him back in. Let's pause it for one.
3.5 rating.
You gave it a 3.5 rating. I do apologize. We had some technical difficulties here. So if you saw us freezing up, that was totally on my side. What was your favorite part of the film, would you say, overall, Dad?
Oh my God.
And your least favorite?
Well, the least favorite is no problem. Is the guy who tried to do the Loomis part, the psychiatrist.
Oh, Dr.
I
Sartain.
didn't like his part. Sartain, yeah. And if you look through, if you watch it closely, you can see a lot of flaws. You can see a lot of bodies being repositioned from where they were killed, back and forth. And I like the ending, even though you knew he was coming back. And some of the kills weren't bad. I didn't like the supporting cast very well at all. They could have went and had a coffee while I was watching the movie. I didn't like them. I like the references to the other movies. So if you look through it, you can see, references from 2 and 4 and 1. All those.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And I like Amy D. Curtis. I like the way she played it, even though some of her scenes were comical or drinking in her. But I don't know, Malcolm. I think, but compared to what we're going to see next, I found it okay.
All right. So Malcolm, let's
nowhere close to the original or the first two. Yeah, Malcolm, you go.
Okay. I like this one. I liked it more. I liked the whole beginning when they go and visit him, because they want to find out. You get that kind of weird, crazy thing between all the inmates when the mask is held up. I liked that because it made you feel, it's the mask got the power, because the thing was it Michael channeling the mask from being near it, you know. So I like that. I like how he escapes from that, and I like how brutal some of the kills are. Right. When it comes to Jamie Lee Curtis's family, I think I like Julie Greer. I thought she was incredible as the daughter.
Oh yeah, Karen.
You know, yeah, I loved her as the daughter. I love that bit when she goes, "I can't do it." I love that. That's such a great moment when she goes, because you're like, this is Laurie Strode's daughter. Of course, she's going to be able to do it because she talks about how she was tortured constantly by Laurie to be ready in case he came back. So you should know really that that's going to happen. But in that moment, you're so invested, but you're like, oh no, what's going to happen? You know. And I liked Alison as well. Alison was great in this. The daughter, Julie Greer's daughter, in it. You know, Karen's daughter. Sorry, right. I really liked her. I like how messed up Jamie Lee Curtis's character is, because unlike Rob Zombie's Part 2, this feels more genuine. This feels more realistic. Yeah. It feels like she would be the type of person that would constantly try to fortify places and be ready, you know, and have her kill them kind of thing, because of how tormented and tortured she is. But every day she thinks about Michael. He's going to come and get me. He's going to get me. He's going to get my family. And you can see how destructive it is to her family constantly, right? Yet she has such a deep connection with a granddaughter, right? Which later on they completely wreck. But, you know, it's such a beautiful relationship. But, you know, she doesn't want to give up on her. Now, the side characters, like the boyfriend, I was glad when he got killed. You know, Alison's boyfriend, because I was like, this guy's a numbnuts. So I was like, glad he's dead. And, you know, I thought the final confrontation in this movie was better than any other two. You know, with Laurie, but then saying that, she didn't really have one per se in kills, so that's kind of, you know, not fair. But I liked it. I liked the Easter eggs, you know, that were homages to the other films. I really thought it was good. You know, I thought this was a great comeback, and I honestly believe it should have been held as one film and not two more.
That's a good point. Actually, we'll get into that. I very much enjoyed this movie. This was a comeback film for the franchise for me. It's what I wanted to see a Halloween movie become. Now, unlike you guys, I did like some of the side characters, specifically Andy Matichak's friend, because the way that she plays the babysitting role with that kid, it's so like true.
I forgot all about that.
And they're they play off each other so well.
Yeah.
And unlike some of the other films, the boyfriend kind of does what a boyfriend would do. I like the way that they play those characters. They're probably two of my favorite characters in the film. And I was sad when they died. I wanted to see that friend come back because I thought they did a much better job.
I would see that little boy dead.
It was fun. It was fun. He was funny. I absolutely adored the pumpkin carved out, like hollowed out policeman head. I know what they were going with Sartain. I don't think they succeeded.
That was good.
That was on my least.
It was painful.
Especially put on the mask. Him. I mean, like I didn't like the concept behind it. Like it's the anti-Loomis. I get it. Like I guess it's the anti-Loomis. I understand. That doesn't mean that it's going to be something that I'm going to enjoy. I actually did like the aspect where he gets his head squashed. So I guess in a way, he's one character I was glad to see get killed. I did feel kind of bad for the douchey best friend, who kind of comes off as sort of nice in the beginning, and then he tries to hit on the girl. Like that murder sequence there with the lights coming on and off, like they got the motion lights in the back of the house, really well done.
Yeah, that was nice.
The cinematography in this is great. Nick Castle got to come back to do a couple sequences in this film here.
It's before the mask's on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jude Courtney. Well, he's in the scene upstairs. Like when you see Laurie look like upstairs, and you see Michael looking out the window.
To the window.
That's Nick Castle. So Jude Courtney is like the predominant, like Michael, in the film, and he's Michael without the mask, and he's Michael like in the other aspects of the film. There's a penguin-like character that'll come back in Halloween Kills that we see at the beginning of the film. We call him the Umbrella Guy, who'll have a much bigger part in the second film than he will in this one. But great opening, a wonderful sequence. The 4K on this one's actually pretty good. I got the 4K edition of this one,
It
and
does look
a
nice.
decent 4K. Good score, like fantastic score for this film. I really like what Jamie Lee Curtis did with this role. I like what Judy Greer did with this. And I'm going to say this right now. I don't care what anybody says. I like the dad. He was like legit. He was a dad. And people always complain about him. Oh, he says kind of grown worthy things. Yes, because he's a dad, and dads say grown worthy things. That's what he's probably the most realistic dad
Hey,
I've
listen
seen.
here.
It's true, Dad.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
It's true. I'm a dad too. We say things where our kids are
He didn't
rolling
get a
our
good
eyes.
death.
He got like I felt like he got kind of it was kind of sad because he dies,
True fact.
and it feels like at this point that they don't even care. Like that's the one thing that I would take like a bit of a complaint with. The dad is like brought into it. He's a lovable
True,
dad. He's a nice guy, but like they totally forget about him. I love where they switch things around. So rather than Michael falling off, Laurie falls off and disappears. We get switches around. I love the way that she did her house, like kind of booby trapped her house. It had a great ending. It left it open in a way that was realistic for him to come back. But if they had stopped it right here, it could have been an ending. And here's the thing. Initially, it was supposed to stop right here. David Gordon Green had an idea for another film, for a trilogy, if this one did well. Within the first day of this one being out, this one did so well that they immediately greenlit 2 other films. At the time, he had an idea, but he hadn't written them. And with that being said, neither one of us gave our score, but for me, this is an easy 4.5. What about you guys?
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I initially was going to give it a 3.5, but I'm going to switch around because what you were saying, it made a lot of sense. I'll give it a 4.
All right, and we'll go dive right into something where we're going to all start arguing. Let's talk about the follow-up. Took a while for it to come out. Halloween Kills, the much more brutal,
took longer.
sadistic Halloween film. And Malcolm, since I think I know what some of your thoughts are going to be on this one, I'm going to let you go first because I know we're going to have very differing thoughts on this film.
Well, I loved this film. I thought this film was incredible. And you know what? I loved the poster more than the film. So much so that I'd probably buy the poster and put it on my wall. You know, if they had a real banner one. But the thing is with this, when I watched this film, I never remember it that much. What I remember from it is Anthony Michael Hall, right, as Tommy, going around talking about what happened and basically being, a pain in the butt. And this other girl who was supposed to be the girl from the first movie, who's apparently still alive.
Oh, Carl Richards playing Lindsay.
Yeah, meeting up with him. And then you got the nurse and the doctor, who's the doctor and she's the nurse, but they switch places when they do fancy dress because that really makes sense. Right? And Michael going around just being an utter shit, attacking people. So in this movie, obviously, one of the worst things happens, but it's actually, I kind of wish they'd have done it with the other one instead, I wish they'd killed Alison off and not Judy Greer's character, Karen, because Alison in the third one becomes unbearable, right? This has Little John and Big John in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those characters. When they got killed off, that kind of upset me because I really liked the way they talked and everything to each other. And I love the bit obviously where they all go and confront Michael and they all beat him up and you know, and you're like, everybody's cheering, yeah, and you're like, this is a horror movie. This ain't gonna happen. And then when he gets up and you do that montage of him killing people, I love that. You know, Michael must have been really happy after that. But he was hell of injured. Laurie Strode, wasted in this, just been in the hospital, just basically doing nothing. But she's building a relationship with a police officer. So that's basically what that is. Oh, you know, I had a crush on you when I was younger. Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay, lean over, Laurie, because I'm getting in with you. You know, and you know, so she was wasted. Then you get the bit where they think this little fat guy is is uh, is Michael Myers. It's
Ben
like,
Tramer.
what? You think this obviously mentally ill, overweight man, right, who's podgy and runs around like an Oompa Loompa, right, is, you know, is Michael. Come on, right? So then he comes on the
been Ben
road.
Tramer just for fun.
It should have been, shouldn't it? And then he dies. And what I love is when he falls, you hear the crunch, right? You know, it's like, you crazy. No, that's not Michael. Why? And they're like, yo, you know, and all this. And they just keep on and on and on. And you're like, what's happening in this movie? You know? Do I think the kills are good? Yeah, I think the kills are good. I didn't understand that bit. It was really stupid when they're in the car and Michael kills one by the lake, and then he kills the ones in the car. I love the gun moment's hilarious where the
That
gun
is so
hits.
cool.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great moment. It's not as bad as I remember it being. Watching it back, especially the third one. The third one's the one that makes this one look a lot better. So, if I had to give it anything, I'd probably give it a 2.
I'm actually surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised, actually, because I think we're not going to get to 2 when we talked it out. So, what are your thoughts, Dad, on Halloween Kills?
I got to tell you, still having a problem here. Still having a problem here with my my computer here, but so I didn't hear everything that Malcolm said. I got his rating, but I'm a part of it. But I think the only thing good about this movie is the title because it's true. Halloween Kills. And yes, he kills and kills and kills. I mean, poor old Anthony Michael. I liked him when he was a nerdy guy, but he's nowhere near the Paul Rudd character. He comes out, he grabs the big stick. Come on, let's go. I'm going to kill Michael Myers. That's silly. You know what was going to happen. Kill. What do you say about a movie like this?
Evil Dies Tonight.
I agree with Malcolm too about his granddaughter. I noticed that she's gone from. Well, I thought she was half decent in the first movie, not so much in this one. The next one, even worse. I don't know what they did with her in the next one. Horrible. But some of the kills, it was funny. I agree. A lot of it was funny. Some of the characters now, I didn't like some of these. Those other characters again. I'm glad. One thing I'll give it points. I might give it a 2 because they did bring back original characters like Tommy and the girl. They brought them back, so that was nice, you know. But there's just so many kills. I give it.
So it's a 2 for you.
Reason I'm not saying too much, we're flicking back and forth on my computer.
No, you are kind of cutting in and out there. I'm not sure if Malcolm can hear.
No.
But
yeah. So next time I'm going to try to take the computer and bring it somewhere else in one of the other rooms.
It might be a better idea, actually. I think.
I can't
But
understand. Pictures are clear as a bell. The audio is
it is. Picture is actually much better than when we first started. Um, for me, for this, I like this way better than you guys did. Way, way better than you guys both did.
And I have no
One,
trouble down here watching stuff on computer.
but I love the opening of this film. There's Michael Myers
Oh yeah, I forgot that with the fire.
Yeah, it's badass. It's like that scene from Rogue One with Vader at the end, right?
Yeah.
It's like Michael comes out and he just slaughters everybody. Like he's still, because here's the thing. At this point, like he's just like, people forget this is all done like Halloween too, like the same night, right?
Yeah.
So he is still like, the bloodlust is there, and he hasn't been like killing for years, and he's fought Laurie in that, but it hasn't been like what it will be. Like he takes on this entire fire department. He slaughters them. A wonderful sequence there. It was interesting to see Carl Richards as Lindsay Wallace. I'm not a fan of of reality TV shows, so I didn't know that she was kind of famous for that until like this here, because she does like this Real Housewives type of thing.
Okay.
I really liked her. I wish I would have seen more of Lindsay Wallace in this film. Actually, she stood out, and I like that they didn't kill her off. That they made the the thing of like not killing off that one character and making sure to hopefully bring her back, which we'll get into what I think about with what they did with that in the third film. But I was glad to see Laurie sidelined. Unlike you guys, I was very glad to see Laurie sidelined because we could tell a bit more story with a bit more of the characters. Some things worked better than others. Like this film is definitely a film that's looking at the like the way that the kind of, and they'll get into it even more in the final film. But in this one here, it's like kind of like the town. We're getting to see more about the town and about the survivors. Tommy has become this guy that, like, he's not the paranoid kind of badass in the way that he was in part 6. Now this Tommy is a bit different. He was the murders happened and then nothing else happened in that town, so he has no reason to think like Michael is this like supernatural type killer or ruins or any of that type of stuff. Now this Tommy would be thinking about what happened based on the first film, because that's how we're thinking about it. It's the first film. So for him, he was a kid, and at a time as a little boy, and his babysitter saved him, and he couldn't help her. And now he's an adult, and he wants to pay it back. He's
got a chip on his shoulder.
Yes, because it's like he couldn't save everybody. He wanted to be the savior. He wants desperately to be the savior. He still kind of holds on to this, and it's kind of a bit of local celebrity aspect to it and we see it at the bar. He does this whole mantra of like this whole evil dies tonight type of thing. He riles up the town into like a bloodthirsty frenzy. And he pretty much, I don't think for one second he believes that this is Michael. I do think that he believes that he wants to save the town. And he wants to be the big guy. He wants to be the savior. He's got the bat. He's gonna be a badass this time. He's not a kid anymore. Michael can't scare him. Like, guys, he spent the first film as talking to Laurie about the boogeyman and how scary and how real the boogeyman is. And then he had the boogeyman become real, and he didn't, and he screamed and could do nothing. So it makes sense. Like, his character makes sense. Is it my favorite like rendition? No. I love Anthony Michael Hall.
They were going to try and get Paul Rudd back originally.
They did. They actually did try to get Paul Rudd back. It was like a scheduling issue. They never did actually try to get the original actor back. I know that he got upset about that. But I think, in all honesty, it's Anthony Michael Hall. So if you can't get Paul Rudd and you get Anthony Michael Hall, this guy did like Dead Zone, stuff like that. He's not a guy that like kind of just did stuff when he was young, didn't do anything else. He's had a good career. So getting him there was it was a plus. Now, I will agree. They never should kill off Judy Greer's character. And it'll go into part 3. Because here's the thing. Killing off Judy Greer's character sets up an expectation that we don't get followed up on. There is almost a slightly hinted at supernatural aspect of this, of Michael, for the very first time in this trilogy, because he seemed very much a real person and a real man. He gets hurt, he gets damaged, his hand, and when he gets beaten up by the town, why somebody would, by the way, say, "Hey, we're gonna get Michael. You get okay, I'll get a knife and you get a gun and I'll get a toaster, right?
Yeah, on iron.
On iron, yeah." Why? Okay, but that being said, you remember the Iron Girl, don't you? Remember Iron Lady? She's gonna be in convention for the rest of her freaking life. But it was good. I mean, like when he finally comes back, like he same as before, he slaughters him, but he doesn't do it, and as strongly as he did at the first of the film. We are seeing a beaten, brutalized, tired old man, and yet he's still a killer. He's what's the Busta Rhymes say? Like he's a shark. He's a great. He's an apex predator. No, he's still like a killer, and he kills well, but he kills tiredly. And the murders at the end, when you put them up against the murders at the beginning, there's a significant difference in how well he can do it. But there's a specific brutality and cruelty when it comes to Tommy. And he literally takes Tommy's weapon. He makes a point of doing that. Judy Greer is fantastic. The end of this movie broke my freaking heart. But at the time that I saw this movie, I thought, okay, they killed Judy Greer's character. That's her daughter. That's the little girl that she tried to raise until it got taken from her. That's the girl that she made into like the next, to train her to do what she did in part in the 2018 one, right? Obviously, the next movie is going to be an epic face-off between Laurie, who is now angry because she's lost her daughter, and Michael Myers. That's not what we'd get.
No.
That's not what we get at all. For me, though, Halloween Kills, it's an easy 3.5. I enjoyed it. There wasn't much that I didn't like. Big John, Little John. I love those characters. I liked, and we haven't spoken on this, but I think we should. It's the flashback. The flashback aspect of this was really well done. They got a guy that looked eerily like Donald Pleasance.
I thought that was the third one.
Oh no, there's there's in this one too. There's a flashback in this.
Oh, okay.
Because we get to, but there's a big flashback in the next one.
Okay.
But no, like this is when we find out that he, the reason Will Patton, didn't want Michael killed, and that was basically because he shot the wrong person.
Yep.
It's it's not the same guy. The guy that does the voice for Sam Loomis, well, kind of the voiceover for H2O, is brought back to do the voice of Sam Loomis in this one and the next one. And we get to see Lonnie, the character Lonnie, who, Donald Pleasance's character scared off from the house back in the first one, get your ass away from there, Lonnie.
Yeah.
And the son that was a dick in the first film that threw her cell phone in the punch bowl. He's redeemed. Not only is he redeemed, he's made into a likable, engaging character, so that when he dies, you feel it. Yeah. Like he's been a dick in the first movie. You should not like this character. He does, but they didn't do that. They took that and redeemed his character. In this film, they redeemed the character that was unlikable in the first film. Not only redeemed them, but made him one of the more likable parts of this film. So that you feel bad.
I still don't understand why Karen was in the house, looking out the window.
Well, she
Like, why would
sees
she go up there?
she sees the ghost sort of like young Myers, and it. I'm going to guess it compels her. There's something mentioned in this one, and it's mentioned in the first one too. And they talk about the fact that Michael's going to want to go back in the house. That when they found Michael, he was looking at the window. Like, but
So he
here's the
sees the
thing.
ghost of his sister as well.
Well, we never get. That's one of the things that always bother me with this trilogy here is we never get an explanation for that. We never figure out why he's looking at the window, why he feels compelled to go back to the house. It's not going to be followed up on. When we get to the next film, that is not a question that we're going to answer. And the reason for that, because my friends, we're dealing with, as you would say in Scream 3, a trilogy. And 78, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills is a trilogy. Halloween Ends
It's the turd.
is completely its own thing. It's not.
Well, it's not connected.
And it's connected, but much looser. Time has passed. A lot of people went in this with a lot of expectations, myself included. I've talked about them over Halloween Kills. I'll go a little bit first before we go into this. When I initially went into this one, I watched it the first night that it came on, like Peacocks, where I watched it at.
Same here.
Was that I expected what H2O did and what Halloween 2018 did. I expected Michael and Laurie and a big face-off where I expected at the end, neither one of them are going to live. That was if I would have been a betting man back then and I would have lost, that was my bet on how this was going to end.
I think that was everybody's bet, to be honest.
Like I thought it was going to end with both of them dead. Then I started to watch the movie. Right away, I see the guy from the Hardy Boys. And I'm like, okay, I like this actor. It's Rowan Campbell. He's playing Corey. And there's an interesting parallel between him at the beginning and Laurie Strode. He goes to there's the choice between beer and milk. He chooses the milk. We get like, okay, there's innocence to this character. There's a purity to the point where the little kid that he's babysitting can pick on him and bully him. This will come back throughout the film. But it's a very big part of it here. And we'll get a parallel to it later on, which I'll get into when I talk about this later on after you guys speak. But it starts with him trying to get the door open. And when he opens the door pushes forward because the door pushes out. It hits the kid, and the kid falls to his death. And then we get
coming.
Yeah. Then we get the opening titles for this movie. And the opening titles is when everything changed for me. Because I'm watching the opening titles of this film, and as you guys know, I'm a massive Halloween fan. And the opening titles are done exactly the same as Halloween 3. It's got that very kind of different, unusual, almost like computer type of like title aspect to it. And I'm like, and at that point, I remember looking over to Hin, because she was watching with me, and saying to her, yeah, we're not going to get what I thought we were going to get. And that's truly on like the fact that, okay, this is them telegraphing, no, this is not the movie that you thought you were going to get. Whether you like it or you don't like it, they're kind of letting us know there. They're subtly letting us know. And with that being said, Malcolm, I'm going to let you go first and see if you subtly or unsubtly didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I thought it was trash. I watched it again. Still think it's trash. Corey's a piece of garbage. One of the weakest characters I've ever seen. You know, Alison gets with him and basically rides his pogo stick, even though she knows he's killed people, which makes no sense. You know, she's supposed to be a nurse, and yet she's going off with someone who's killing people and hurting people. and she's defending him over her own grandmother. Come on, right? You know, so that was garbage, right? Michael in it is constantly like, when he does kill people with Corey, it feels like he's getting off to it because he's constantly like, yeah. Right? He grabs hold of Corey and does this weird thing where he looks into his eyes and, as people have said, probably passed on that killer instinct. You know, like, you're the next generation because I'm dying. You know, the fact that Michael doesn't kill him in the first place is weird. Because you're like, you should just kill him, right? Do us all a favour. Laurie Strode is interesting because half the time, even though we think we see her, it's obvious that Corey is imagining her saying certain things to him. The bit where he's dressed up in the outfit and he attacks Laurie Strode and Alison sees it, she defends him over her grandmother because she thinks she's trying to kill him even though he's in a bloody boiler suit and got the mask near him. You know, and then you got these deaths that work fine. Corey's just awful character. How I went and put my hand through the screen and smash his head in myself. The ending, you thought I'd seriously kill myself, Michael? We hoped, Laurie. We hoped you would, so it could be the end. Right. Then when she's fighting him with the knife and Alison comes in and helps her, and then there's this really weird ending where they're all carrying him to the thing, and they put him through that grinder, and I was like, is he going to pull Laurie down with him? Because that would have been amazing. That would have saved that movie. If that had happened, I'd have given it a 5. Because I'd have been like, whoa,
So what do
she
you
went with him. I give it 0 stars. It's the worst one out of all of them. Right? And I'm talking about, what do you call it? You know, I watched it and I was violently angry when it ended. I was so angry, I almost smashed my computer. Because I was punching the wall. I was screaming. If I ever go to Halloween and you're there, Corey, I'm going to punch you. I was fuming because I just hated how it focused so much on this character and everybody in it was completely different. They were like, it was like watching a Bizarro movie of like Superman with a Bizarro world. You know, Alison's like, after my mother died, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I became a nurse, and then I had sex with serial killers. It's like, come on. And then you've got the romance still with Laurie and the cop, and you're sitting there going, Laurie won't be able to have this kind of relationship because she's so psychotic for obvious reasons. She won't be able to trust a man. She won't be able to get close because all the people she's cared about have been killed. But you know what I mean? Right? So when you watch it and you literally sit there and you think, why didn't they just make it where Laurie Strode comes home, Michael Myers is cooking dinner, and, oh, look, we're all a happy family again? Because that probably would have made more sense than what happened. Corey could have been a relative. It could have been that Corey was a long-lost son of Michael Myers. I thought he did like impregnating people, didn't they, in cults? Even though it's a completely different timeline, you know? What else can I say about this movie? It's too long, for one thing. It drags on so much. The bits in the sewer were like, oh, come on. You know, listen to Corey go on about, you know, can you understand that I do this? Right? Just makes you go, what the hell are you on about, Alison? And he wants to give her a good stabbing, and she loves it. Right? She's like, yeah, you can stab me anytime. And, oh, yeah, you're the love of my life. After you've met him for like a few minutes. Right? So you just sit there going, what is wrong with this film? This was one of those films that should never have been made. Right? It's awful. It's pathetic. And it makes me want to smash up every Halloween movie I've ever seen in my life because I just hate it so much. I literally took out the paper out the thing and used it as toilet roll. And used the disc as a coaster. That's how angry I hate it.
We're going to have very different opinions on this one, by the way. Dad, what's your thoughts on this? I got a feeling it's going to be similar to Malcolm.
Well, a lot of I like a lot of what Malcolm said. I enjoyed the first bit of it when he killed that. Didn't see the Artie boy, so I don't know nothing about this guy's background, Corey. I didn't like him at all. I didn't like his acting at all. He was too on. In normal life, she would never, ever bother with this guy. Everybody's going. I couldn't take him at all, and I got confused with the timeline. Is how far ahead is it? Because Lamar put up with Corey the way he got in his face and that Corey be dead within the ending. It's atrocious. This is a guy that we seen what he did throughout the movies. He was shot. He was down, fell down a shaft. Everything was done to him. Stabbed. Everything you could do with a liquor cube, a character. And now he's stabbed and he's dead. I couldn't make any sense of this movie at all. I like Michael was just a supporting character. So I grossly. I didn't like it at all. I agree with Malcolm. I give it a 0. I don't know the characters.
So what's your score?
I can't say much about it because I don't. It's vaguely. I don't remember it. I've got all the. I was like Malcolm. I was a bit pissed off at the ending of this. I'm really pissed off at it. At all. I mean, horrible movie. Just terrible movie. And it gives it a 0. I got through it. Especially something like that.
I just want to
But
say
I thought
quickly. I'm gone.
But nah, I wouldn't want. So, Aaron, you can give us now how your likes about it.
I just want to say this
0
before you do, Aaron.
0.
I just want to say this because I just thought about this because of what Glenn said. So when he's on the table, Michael Myers, right, and he's injured, he grabs hold of Laurie, right, after being hurt because his hands got cut through, right? And Alison comes running in, and two women who are not that big are able to hold him down, right? When in other films, we've seen them grab like bodybuilders and throw them across the room.
Well, that's
I get they're supposed to be wake up, but
well, we'll get to that. Actually, I'll get to that because I have massively different opinion than both you guys on this film. This one, I liked a lot more than Halloween Kills. A lot, significantly more, and we'll get into why. Here's the thing. For me, this was a better constructed film than Kills was. Kills was a bit all over the place when it came to certain things, but I felt that everything kind of fell together and made more sense for me for this film. We get the introduction of the Corey character. As far as everybody knows at this point, Michael is either dead or he's kind of like they want to sweep that under the rug for a couple reasons. One, Michael just doesn't seem to be around anymore. Everybody wants to forget it. Two, they literally caused an innocent person to fall to his death in the last film. They desperately don't want any blame. They're that type of town. Haddonfield, kind of a dick, but they need a bad guy. They need a boogeyman. They need somebody else that they can blame because they can't blame themselves. So who do they blame? Well, this kid that accidentally killed a kid. He becomes the new boogeyman. He's the new like scary guy, the new dangerous person, the new Michael Myers, the one that nobody wants to have anything to do with. Um, and that's the way his character is played throughout it. We see him getting bullied in this movie by a band, by these like band kids, and people like there was comments at the time. Well, why isn't he bullied by jocks? Why is it by like band kids? Because this is not an '80s movie. This is freaking reality. Like it's a movie, but it's like movie reality. Like bullies aren't always big jock characters. It's not the way it works in real life. Trust me, as someone that's been through that crap. No, bullies come in all shapes and sizes. And in this place, they're very like mean too. These are not mean, these are not nice guys. They literally the reason that Corey goes through this metamorphosis that he goes through in the first place solely on their shoulders. They push the dude off. He ends up in where the homeless people are. He ends up finding a beaten down, broken Michael that couldn't kill a fly at this point, let alone Corey. But he sees something, whether it's an anger, hatred, a bit of darkness that's festered. He sees it in Corey, and Corey takes, whether it's like supernatural, and he takes evil on. But of course, because at Corey's young, Michael's in his 60s, so we get it's evil wants strength. Corey is a dark character, and we see a change in Corey. It's very reminiscent to an early John Carpenter film, not Halloween, but one called Christine. There's so much of Christine in this movie. Corey parallels the Arnie Cunningham character from the movie Christine so much. There are so many subtle references to Christine all throughout this movie. They kind of like John Carpenter hinted at it, like without out and out saying it, but it's really obvious, especially if you've watched Christine. You got this nerdyish character that suddenly becomes what he thinks cool is. Not cool, but what he thinks cool is. And his newfound confidence attracts somebody that he normally wouldn't be able to get, which is an Manichac character. Now, the thing is that her mother's died. Her dad is dead. She's living with her grandmother, and her grandmother might be at this point where, because here's the thing, Laurie's lost everything. The only thing she has now is her granddaughter. So basically, she can't be that character that does that anymore. She can't keep looking for Michael. That she's made those mistakes. She's done those things. She has to be the character that tries to give some sense of normality, because at this point, whether Michael comes back or not, she's already lost an entire life. She can't change anything that's happened in the past.
Hold on. I've got to say this quickly because you just reminded me. That bit where she goes back, where Laurie Strode says, get with a guy and get your tits out or something. It's one of the most weirdest lines I've ever heard that character say.
I mean, it's like, here's the thing. She's trying desperately to be a grandmother after not being able to be a mother. And that's, that's a harder aspect of the film. Also, her granddaughter is damaged, is super damaged. Like, I know you mentioned before not to say things that are not in the film, but I'm going to in this point. And like it's mentioned in it wasn't put in the actual film itself. It was in the script. It was in the book that she's having dark thoughts, and she's had murderous thoughts. She hasn't acted on them, but she's had some very dark thoughts about her grandmother, and she kind of like relates to Corey that way. But it's actually Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, that gets Corey together with her granddaughter. She pities Corey. She sees like the damage in Corey. She doesn't realize at first that she's seeing kind of what she saw in Michael. That comes after. It comes too late. There's a part in the film where they go up to a radio station, and for Corey, when he's talking to God, I keep forgetting her name. I can't believe what's her character's name again? Matichek's character's name, Allison.
Alison.
Perfect. So when he's talking to Allison, he's at the radio station. He's always talking about like, hey, he comes up there, and when he feels hopeless, when he feels like things are just can't get, because his home life is bad too. The way his mom treats him, she's smothering, she's suffocating him, like his life is horrible. That he goes up to this radio station, and he feels good. It gives him a little bit of hope. And then we get the scene with the radio station burning. And that's when hope is gone. That's when there's no more Corey. There's no coming back from that. The last vestige of hope that Corey had outside of Allison and previously to Allison was this radio station. And this radio station is no more. The mask, by the way, that's cheap scarecrow mask in this film. Scary as hell. It's one of the scariest frigging masks. And I would have actually preferred if he didn't put on Michael Myers' mask ever and kept going with that scarecrow mask, because that creeped the hell out of me. The sequence between Michael and Corey killing the doctor and the nurse, really well done. What a good kill right there. And I'll go a little bit further. I wish Michael had not been in this film. That he could have been found dead somewhere, and that all this stuff was in Corey's mind. That Corey done all this.
This is what I would have liked.
It would
if
have.
Michael had been dead in the sewer, right, and Corey had found him, right, or he was dying in the sewer and Corey found him, and then Corey just killed him right there.
We don't see it until the end. Like we don't see. Like we think. Like Michael's there. Like that would have made it so much better for me. But I get what David Gordon Green wanted to go with. This is a town that's haunted by the visage of Michael Myers. The end of the movie. Well, why did two girls able to like get him out? Because at the end of the day, he's a guy that's been beaten the crap out of. He's not the same guy. By the way, guys, from parts 4 and 5, we're in a different timeline. In this timeline, he's an old man. And honestly, here's the truth of the matter. Two younger people probably can't beat up an old man. Especially an old man that's been beaten like crazy.
I don't think so. I think if two young girls attack Glenn right now, I think he'd decimate them.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Dad's living underneath thing after being beaten up with rats and just probably living off rats or something. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, she comes back. And part of her, Allison, wants Michael She knows, like Corey Outnet tells her, he kills people. That doesn't turn her away. Just the opposite, because she's going through PTSD in a very different way than Laurie has gone through it, but in an equally realistic way. If you've ever seen anybody that's ever been in any type of like PTSD or traumatic event, or even like an abusive type of thing, they can tend to go towards what you don't want to see them go towards. That's a sad reality of life, unfortunately. For me, that made sense. The idea of having like Michael like put out like through the town like that, I get it. Like the town, like this is the purging of this is what they think. What this town thinks is going to be the purging of the evil for this town. 100% agree that there should have been one last grasp. He should have grabbed Laurie. That would have been awesome. I would have loved that. I actually thought about that when that was going on. I actually looked at him and I said, I think he's going to put her. I think she's still going to die. But she couldn't. And the reason she couldn't, well, it's on the table at the very end of the film. Michael's mask. It's still there because evil doesn't go away, guys. It changes shapes. It moves on. You can't beat it. And unfortunately, Mr. Will Patton, the sheriff, ex-sheriff, is probably a bit to find out that after the cameras stop rolling, because Laurie is not cured. She is not good. She is not happy. She is evil,
Which is
and he's
sexy
going
at
to.
least.
And they don't tell us, they don't have to show us. They just do that little thing where to give a little bit of hope. So if you want to take out of it, oh, she's good and everything's fine and evil's gone, you can take that and leave it at that. But there's that little lingering aspect of it, especially there for me, that makes me think personally, nothing's changed. It
No.
just went to somebody else. I personally would have
I,
loved it to have been Corey, and he wouldn't have killed himself, and he wouldn't have died at the end of it. And he could have came and did his own thing and whatever. But Blumhouse had the rights for 3 films. This was going to end no matter what. Do I think this was a good end for this as a trilogy of H 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends? Not at all. It is not a good end for a trilogy. It is not a good end. Does it lack with the confrontation between Laurie and Michael? 100%. Agree completely. Is Corey one of my favorite characters that I've seen in this entire franchise? Yeah, he really, really is. And I would have rather seen a movie about him than anybody else in this film, because nobody else in this entire movie and nobody else in this new franchise intrigued me enough to want to know more. And that includes like Judy Greer, I really liked, um, than Corey's character. And I think that for people going in to watch this movie, that you are going to live or die by that. If you are not a fan of Ron Campbell and you don't like his take on the role and you don't like what he's doing with Corey, nothing is going to change your mind. That's okay, because it's boring if everybody has the same opinion. How absolutely atrociously boring is that? For me, that worked. That's what made it for me, not what took away from it. So for me, this is a 4 out of 5. I actually did like it that much. And you can say what you want, but that's the thing, Dad. We're all giving our own personal opinions. I enjoyed this film. I enjoyed the ride of this film. And what I got to say is I enjoyed watching this one more the third time, because I've watched it more than 2 times, the third time around, as opposed to watching it the first time around. I was more frustrated with this movie the first time I saw it. I had more issues like you guys did. And I had a lot of the same issues the first time I saw it. It wasn't until I started watching it again that, for me personally, things started to click. For me, things started to become a little bit more fun. And that's without going in. That's before knowing anything else, aside from the fact that there was something about the movie that I couldn't put my finger on. And I just wanted to rewatch it. So this is one that I rewatched shortly after I'd seen it, because I wasn't sure. I was frustrated. Um, and I take it to like when some people went and watched The Shining, right? Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Not going to pair it to The Shining that way, but as in the aspect of like Kubrick fans went to watch The Shining. Or Stephen King's fans went to watch The Shining, and they watched it and they're like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Now that movie's a classic right now. Am I going to say so classic? Is this a classic like The Shining? No, it's not. But I do think that this is a movie that eventually is going to have a lot more fans and a lot more of a cult following than it's getting right now. I think it's too fresh. It's too raw in a lot of people's minds, and it's already started to become that divisive film. It's already started to get people like me that are starting to that are coming out and actually admitting that, oh yeah, I really enjoyed that film. I liked certain aspects. I like that it challenged it. I like that it didn't do the same thing. And it didn't do what Rob Zombie did. It didn't do what the originals did. It started to do its own thing. And at this point, we've done 6 timelines, guys. I'm ready for something different. I was ready for this. I was ready to see. I was ready to see Corey. I was ready to see different masks. I was ready to see different kills. I was ready to see Michael go out. I would have been perfectly fine with Laurie going out too. And I think she, I know why they didn't, but I think because this was the last film, they really still could have done it because they could have had Allison take on that role at the end of the film. And I think she should have. Like she was already getting close to Corey. I think it would have been easier to kill off Allison, to kill off Laurie Strode's character, and have Allison be the one that kind of struggles with the darkness. But at the end of the film, Allison is leaving. She's getting away from the town. She's not gonna let herself be cursed that way, the way that her mom was, the way that her grandmother, the way that her grandmother was, the way that Corey was. She wants to get away from it. Will she? We'll never know, because this is where this franchise ends. But it had me thinking a lot. It had me interested a lot. And for me, in a franchise when so often I felt that it was trying to ape unsuccessfully what we'd seen before.
Yeah.
I was ready to not see that. I was ready to let it go and say, okay, to paraphrase Christine, which this movie so much rips off, by the way. Show me what you got.
It's not as good though.
Show me what you got.
That was a great, really great reading, Aaron, on your part. Really, but you're getting too involved. You said a couple of things that were about the script, what he did in the script, what he did in the book. See, you go through things like that. You read books on Halloween. You read the scripts on Halloween. I just go to the movie to see the movie. You know Corey from another show, so you like his
But that's not what I
acting.
did this time, though.
But
because of the complaint last time, I specifically did not do that this time.
Oh, I think you did. You don't think you did, but you did. You pulled it. You took it apart. You dissected it. Talked about Corey's emotions, how it relates to personal feelings. You're really involved in the. See, I'm different. I just go and watch it. Watch the movie. I go in and I wanted to see the end of Halloween. I wasn't interested in the cards. I knew that Michael was older and couldn't do as much. I could understand that part. Makes sense. But I don't know. I just didn't get the same feel you got for it. I didn't get that involved like in my head. I got a bad feeling I'm going to have to run out there and my battery's getting low. That's probably what's happening. See, I'm running on Dina's battery now.
It's a shame because you're actually coming in at a fairly good click now.
It's not plugged in down here. Anyway, I don't want to argue about it because you got your feelings. You got your feelings about it. I didn't like the movie. I'll just put it like that. I didn't try to get into the movie, into the feelings of the characters. Like you wanted to get right into how they were feeling, and I guess I'm a bit older, so I don't. I just go and watch it, and if it's entertaining and I like it, then I come out. But I don't want to. I was frustrated, and I don't like that when I go to a movie or watch a movie. I don't want to leave frustrated.
Everybody's kind of a different
opinion.
Try
to say, well, should have done this. Should have done that. The character should have developed more. Now, I'm not into it like that. As much as you are, as involved as you are, like you're really into Halloween. Enough to know what's in the script, know what the director's things were, knowing the relationship with Christine and all that. So you're delving into it a lot more than I am.
Well, I thought the Christine thing was kind of obvious.
I didn't really think of it because I really wasn't into the Corey character as much as you were. If I was, I probably would have noticed it.
Because even just like the taller thing.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. The guy in Christine was a nerdy looking guy that when he became more confident, he got the girls and all that. But this
Yeah,
guy
Keith Gordon.
wasn't. I found him not as nice looking as the guy in Christine. So I liked going Christine. I like his acting.
It was more intriguing
But,
than Christine, I felt.
But anyway, Malcolm, what about you? What's your opinion on Aaron's?
My opinion on Aaron's thing is, as usual,
After you thought about it.
it's very knowledgeable, which is great, and there is a lot of knowledge and importance to it in it. But at the same time, we're supposed to be rating just the timeline and talk about the
and for me,
timelines,
Well, we're not ranking the time. We're ranking the timelines on tomorrow, actually.
No, but I mean, we're talking about the timelines.
We're talking about the timelines. For me,
I think. Look, go on, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, for me, like, whereas we talked about the last one and Resurrection, like, hurt H2O. We all agreed on that. I think that was this a perfect ending for like this, like as a timeline altogether? Yes and no. No, as in like, is it the predictable ending that everybody expected? No. Is it the ending that I ended up wanting, that I didn't know I wanted until I saw it? Yeah. So for me, this is a much stronger timeline, and it's heightened because of what we see at the end, because it's not the same old again, because it is something different and something that I enjoyed.
Okay, listen, boys, I'm going to have to cut out. It's nice talking to you today. I got to cut out of this computer, starting to give me a warning sign, and Dean will shoot me.
Okay.
Take care, Glenn.
I'll see you. We'll chat later.
But anyway, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I enjoyed that because we all had different opinions. That was cool. First time we really argued over a movie, like really different opinions.
It is, and I like that, actually. That's what makes it fun.
That's the way it is. Oh, God, I'm too close to the thing. Oh, yeah. Anyway, catch you later.
See you later.
All right, bye.
All right, so there we go. Now it's just me and you, mano a mano.
Oh, you got one guy, and they got to try and take me out and all that.
Any last thoughts though before we finish off the final timeline?
My last thoughts on what you said was basically a lot of what you said was great facts. Especially when you said about how this could have been, this was originally possibly in the script stuff. That stuff's great, And I did think about looking into trivia for some of these movies, but then I went, no, I need to go in just with the movie, because otherwise, if I find out, let's say, oh, the actor was in this movie, he did this inappropriately, then I might have a different view. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, so, actually, this is when I look for the least. I went back to least on. This is one where I just literally where I wanted to rewatch the film. This is one where I was actually looking forward to rewatching the film. Like there's some here where I was kind of interested in rewatching the film.
Yeah.
But this one is one where I was like, yeah, I want to really see what my thoughts are going to be, because didn't like it, liked it, in between. So I really needed like another watch of this to see exactly. I really think, because it was so different.
I really think the Christine reference was good, because I didn't think about that until you mentioned it. Like that was good.
Christine's one of my favorite books and one of my favorite movies. I was a big geek in school, so I used to read Christine a lot, and the movie. I actually kind of felt like some you
might have been in that car, didn't you?
I felt like Arnie, like the kid that was a geek that wouldn't be awesome to have that car and be cool, even though he becomes it's kind of psychotic, right? So when they started it, in this one. Like that was the first thing I thought of. I mean, like in my first watch of the film, I'm like, oh my God. I was like, this is they're gonna do Christine, aren't they? They're really gonna do Christine. And they did. I mean, he had the motorcycle, he puts up his collar like Arnie does in in Christine.
Even does those looks like that.
Yeah, I mean, like its looks change a bit. Like we can see a difference. Like his look does change in the film.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that you give this one another chance down the road because I think there's things to really like about this movie. I really do.
Yeah.
There's certain like David Gordon Green took a lot of chances with this franchise, and he could have after 2018. We saw what he did with 2018, which was
Yeah.
really good. But 2018 played very safe, right?
Yeah.
Aside
It
from the
did.
Sartain thing, it played it fairly safe. It was very much just, and this is not an insult. It's the J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
school of filmmaking in the first film.
Yeah.
He wants to please people that have not been pleased for a long time. Let it happen because a lot of people
Yeah. A
were
lot
not
of
happy
fan
with Rob
service.
Zombie. So,
Yeah.
so like, let's
I
go
like
back
the
to
Rob
basics.
Zombie one. You know, after rewatching that one, I enjoyed that more.
2 is still on your kind of like man list, and I can get that
Yeah, it
actually.
was awful.
Now, to be
But
honest
yeah,
with you,
I mean,
when I rewatched 2, even though I enjoyed it more this time, I rewatched 2, and there was quite a few times when I looked like, in all seriousness, while we're still here on camera, where I was looking down, where I like, oh, let me just check my Monopoly Go for a second. That's the truth of the matter as we
yeah.
finish off this one right here. You ganged up on me a bit. I will say I was kind of stealing for that. But I was I, I
Hey,
kind
don't
of
blame
wish,
me. Don't blame me. Blame your dad. Don't blame me. I'm innocent.
but no, I mean I've enjoyed these timeline things. Here's the
It'd be
thing.
great.
I have an idea for another one, which we'll talk about, but not on
All
here,
right.
because it might work its way in, and it might change things up for Halloween. So, guys, tomorrow
So tomorrow's the tier ranking, isn't it? The timeline
it is.
ranking.
We will be ranking live on Patreon. Me, you, Dad, we're gonna be ranking the timelines, giving our own specific rankings. And you guys have seen as we've gone through, we've been kind of like we've had like similar opinions. Malcolm and Dad usually align. I'm usually on the outside, being like the devil's advocate, and then things kind of get really heated in the last couple of videos, like this one and the last one. And we got to really see differences. So it's going to be very interesting to see
Yeah.
at the end of the day when we look at these and we put these up. Okay, how did these timelines fit? Because we've been judging these movies as an entity, as a timeline,
Yeah.
but tomorrow we're judging them timeline against timeline. I'm not going to lie; it's probably going to be very much straight across the board what's going to be the top timeline. pretty certain. If not, it's going to be very close. But aside from that, everything else is it's out the window. Any last thoughts on this on these last 6 days?
Well, the last 6 days, I'm going to say it's been really interesting, especially having Glenn in. It's been quite nice because me and him, we kind of agree on a lot of stuff. So it's like I don't have to worry because I'm like, okay, I'm always going to be one over on the vote thing. So that's good for the tiering.
So that's it. I'm gonna get somebody else to come
um,
in with me that'll actually agree with me more, so that
Oh
I have
no.
the backup. I have no backup.
But no, in all seriousness, yeah, it's been a good 6 days. I'm looking forward to the tiering, and I'm looking forward to the next ones we do. Because it's fun. I like this. I like this. I like the other videos we do. And if people haven't checked it out, check out our other videos. We're not always getting into heated debates about. So, but it does help. What was it? Dawson's Creek was one, wasn't it? We got really
Dawson's Creek
heated on.
we got Dawson's Creek. CM Punk was another heated debate.
Yeah, we got really heated. It's really funny. But what you need to know, guys, is none of it's ever taken too serious. It's just enjoying the debate and, opinions. Me and
Oh
Alan have
yeah,
got a
no.
lot of respect for each other.
When the cameras go off, guys, we just talk like normal
Yeah,
people.
yeah. So, it's all about having good fun and, opinions and stuff. But we never take any of the negative parts seriously. So don't worry about that.
All right. And with that being said, guys, I want to thank you guys. Thank my dad who had to go out. Thank Malcolm, and we will see you for the live ranking here tomorrow, so I'm going to put that link up very, very soon.